time it was cited and...
yes, this is exactly what the Holy Quran says.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we infer from it positively
Right, sir.
that the time was for that of the ripening of date.
Yes, sir.
You know, date palms were giving fruit at that time. So that shows positively that it was not December, because in December there are no dates. So that's a good article to quote in our support. Why not contact that author and write to him a personal letter and find out more about it, the sources, etc. Or you may write a letter to, is it Guardian, Manchester Guardian? Yes. London Guardian. You write a letter to the editor referring to, with reference to this article, and say this is exactly the verdict of the Holy Quran as well. It's very interesting that previously the Christian scholars were denying this and alleging that the Holy Quran is making stories about it. And now they themselves have discovered that the Holy Quran was right after all. That would be an interesting letter, if they publish it, of course. So, Mr. Imran Khan, have you thought of something at last? Two things, yes. Please. Well, you can lower it to your height.
The first one is that, concerning Dr. Mujibul Haq's question.
Yes. Come closer to the microphone,
even
please.
our school, which is a Christian one,
yes,
they even now say that Jesus was born in autumn. They teach it in their lessons.
That's right, yes.
The
they teach it in the lessons.
In the RS
very
lessons.
Interesting. Yes.
The second thing is, when I was once talking to a boy called Sammy Smelt about existence of God, he, after
about what?
The existence of God.
Yes, yes, yes.
After I proved to him that God was there and he accepted it. But then he said to me, but then I can't accept how God is there, who made him, and how was he there? And I said, it is beyond my comprehension, but I'll...
You see, you tell him that if he doesn't believe in God because of this objection, he can't believe in him himself. He can't believe in anything else, because the same objection will rise against that. If something is proved not to exist because the question remains unsolved, who created that thing, then that first creator is out of question. The same question would not die with that. It would apply to the next situation. And again the same dilemma will be faced by that boy and such people. If there was no creator, who created him? So why not deny his own existence and the existence of everything else? So if you can believe in this creation without a creator, why can't you believe in the existence of a creator without a creator?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Speak a bit more loudly.
Yes, just one point on to what Imran just said. I think it's well recognized by Christians that Jesus wasn't born on 25th of December. It's more or less common knowledge now.
It is now being recognized,
yes,
not well recognized, because they have been having debates on this issue with Ahmadis for many years in the beginning. It was the Ahmadiyya point of view. First of all, we represented this. It was raised by Ahmadis particularly that your date of birth of Jesus is wrong, and Ahmadis based their argument on this verse of the Holy Quran. That period was that of fruiting of date palm trees, and the Holy Quran couldn't have mentioned that Mary was told to shake the tree trunk so that she should drop some fruit on her. That is the reason why I was interested in this.
Anyway, my main question was concerning the work of Hazrat Jalaluddin Rumi.
Yes. What about it?
I was reading a few pages of his work, and at the beginning I came across an interesting story which he relates in the Masnavi. It concerns that...
Are you reading Masnavi now? Is it in English?
Yes, it's translated.
Translation in English. The full Masnavi?
Yes.
Right, yes.
Anyway, at the beginning there's a story about a king who hated Christianity and he wanted some means of destroying it. And so his chief advisor or someone like that thought that the good plan would be that if the king was to somehow attack himself, I mean not the king but his advisor, on the grounds that he had become a Christian, and in this way he would then run away to the Christians and they'd accept him obviously because he'd been persecuted as a Christian. And once he'd been accepted by the Christian community, he would then start causing divisions and schisms and start different movements within the Christian community. Anyway, this plan was successful, and eventually what he did was that he would speak to certain groups of Christians and give them certain directions secretly, and then go to another group of Christians and give them conflicting instructions. And he would tell them not to talk to each other. Anyway, and this plan eventually worked, and I think there were 12 divisions within the Christian movement. I'm just wondering what the interpretation of this could mean, if you know at all, if you have any ideas.
Isn't it obvious? The downfall of the religion starts with schisms, and this is how they come to be created. To begin with, quiet propaganda is directed in a certain section, and different people in there, although the person responsible is supposed to be one, but that person is in fact no person. He is a representation of this phenomenon as such. So this is how the schisms take place. In different areas, different messages spread, different interpretations are given, so that one religion begins to be split into many, and then it begins to weaken as well. This is the obvious explanation.
Yes, yes. This is what I wanted to find out, whether there was a general thing, because I remember that...
And I was not referring to any particular incident in history.
Yes.
Of course, no such thing happened there. What he does is, by way of stories and in interesting anecdotes, he lets us understand a message, while all the time we're interested and absorbed in that story. And he has a very interesting way of creating a situation where the message is exactly the opposite. For instance, when he creates certain sexual scenes, if you read those stories, to begin with you'll be horrified that Maulana Room, such a great saint, and he's writing these stories which are obnoxious to the taste of a common person of decency. And one feels like reading, a sex maniac's fiction writing or something like that. But ultimately, when you reach the end, the effect left on you is exactly the opposite. It leaves a sense of horror with what happened. So this was his way of doing things, so that people who are inclined in the direction of certain sins, they find these stories very interesting to begin with, and they read them with interest, and they run along him for a while. Then ultimately, during that discourse, he kills them. This is, when not understood, creates a very wrong impression of Rome. Once somebody, a political leader of some class, came to see me, and he gave me the book, a book on the explanation of Maulana Rome, and said, I have come to leave it with you, you can keep it, I can't tolerate such a book. He said, I am really surprised why people hold him in such